Hello everyone, I welcome you all to the QA detailed analysis session. So just now we did the DILR and you were done with VARC before that. Let's quickly go through the QA analysis. So QA in the third slot threw actually a few surprises in front of students in terms of difficulty, in terms of the type of questions, right? There were quite a few questions from numbers topic, for example, right? So which is generally not the trend as far as CAT is concerned. So let's quickly go through the details of the QA section. So total number of questions didn't change, remain the same, 22, and the number of TITA non-MCQ questions also remain the same as the other slots that we had, around 8 questions. If you look at the area-wise distribution of the questions from the arithmetic topic, generally which was around half the paper, right, or little less than that. Now the number of questions have slightly fallen. The number of questions that we could get from arithmetic was 8. From algebra was the second highest, 7. Different topics like logarithms, you had progressions, you had quadratic equations, all of that. Geometry, there were 3 questions, and all the 3 questions were from plane geometry. Right? The circles, the trapezium, the triangle, etc. They were from plane geometry. Numbers, this time we had 3 questions. So basically questions involving 4-digit numbers, 3-digit numbers, questions involving perfect squares were there, sum of digits in a given particular large number was asked. So all those questions were from the numbers topic. And there was one Venn diagram question. Not really a surprise, because in the past so many times questions from Venn diagram have appeared in quant as well. So this was the breakup. So as you see, it is not particularly heavy on one particular area, any area. So arithmetic and algebra were clearly the winners, followed by geometry and numbers. There were good number of questions from numbers this time as well. This is the topic wise distribution. Ratios, we had 1 question. AMA we had 2, all right. And the level of difficulty, if you will see all across, overall what we could say about the QA section was, it was moderate to difficult. Also, but overall if you will see, the level of difficulty was slightly higher, and this is what I was saying was a surprise in front of the students who were going for the slot 3. Not many questions looked attemptable. For example, in the given amount of time that you had, even a question on profit and loss had very in detailed calculation, very lengthy calculations, right? Not very direct. So this reminded students of, some of the students of their experience. If they have taken the CAT 23 paper, some of the students had recalled the CAT 23 paper here, right? So this is the topic distribution that you have. You can see it on your screen. So fairly spread out across different topics. Higher emphasis was clearly on the algebra. So again, this is not something new. This is what has been happening over the past few years. And on higher maths. Now when we say higher maths, now questions from quadratic equations were also involving powers of 7, x power 7, 1 by x power 7, such type of questions. Right? This time the topics that missed the train didn't have a single question where topics like PNC, topics like number systems, right? There were no questions on number systems, at least in slot 3. Trigonometry, there was none. Coordinate geometry. Generally, what used to happen was, there used to be a few questions from trigonometry and coordinate geometry, all right? Over the years, this time they were all the questions from geometry were from plane geometry. So questions, the concepts were really twisted. They were not very direct. So even if you thought that a particular question could be done, for example, the question on ratios, particularly this was the feedback that we got, the question on ratios was a very straightforward, simple concept that we have, but the numbers involved there were really complicated. Time taking, and the numbers were not really favorable to the students. For example, there were numbers like 9,701. And you are supposed to take the square root of this or something like that, right? Or square of this, right? So it's not really comfortable numbers as far as the students' test taking is concerned. Significantly difficult compared to the previous year, right? So CAT 24, this definitely several notches higher is what we could understand, we could guess, or we could see from the students' feedback. Now, these are all the features that we would be making ready for you. So please stay tuned, right, for the next few days as well, because once the response sheet is out, Please make use of the percentile predictor, the score calculator, right? And then also the call predictor. Please make use of this, because in the past we have been very accurate with our percentile predictions for our students. So that's it. Thank you and all the very best. कितना टाइम हुआ ये? अरे डिलीट कर देना यार वो.